Hello and welcome to my video blog. This is a Constitution special, you'd be glad to know. So I'm going to update you on the new Constitution as it is, kind of the journey that we've been on, what's in the new Constitution, how you can find out more and how you can help make it actually real, which will be very exciting. So what is the Constitution? Basically the Constitution is the governing document of the Students' Union. We have to have one as a Students' Union, all of them do, and it's basically there to help protect the way the organisation works and the democratic structures. So it covers our president structures, it covers our council and committee structures, it covers how students can get involved, how you can pass policy, all those sorts of things. Basically how the unions run, and how we kind of manage ourselves. And the current constitution that we have has kind of been in place since 2004, and pretty much ever since it was kind of passed, students kind of haven't really been happy with it. They've kind of mandated the officers to review the constitution. They passed policy to look at getting a fifth full-time officer in. So it's been quite a long and lengthy process, unfortunately, to review that and get to the point that we are now. So where are we now? Basically last year I kind of took this on as a really key project and something that I was really wanted to get involved in, and thought it was a really key area for us to actually pass this thing. So I set up a constitutional review working group, basically a group of students that were interested in kind of looking at the constitution with me. So we got together and had some biscuits, we looked at the constitution, we talked about what worked for us, what didn't work for it. Looked at some kind of other students' unions, looked at areas that we thought could be improved in the constitution and how we thought that might look like. So we bashed together a model, which I then took round to councils in February. So I was at Activities Council, Sports Council, SRC and Halls Rep Council, and I presented the journey we've been on and what we had at that point. Spoke to students about it and got some feedback on some issues that we still weren't quite decided on. And used this to put together a final model, as it was then, or a final model, which we then took to the University's Board of Governors in May, because they have to ultimately sign off this constitution, and we wanted to take it in kind of when it was still draft to see if they were happy with the general direction that we were going in, which they were. And they also at that point agreed funding for a fifth full-time sabbatical officer, which is something that we really wanted. I'll talk about a bit more about that in a moment. So that was quite exciting. So then we went away and kind of did more fiddling with it over the summer, and kind of put in a model with 5 full-time presidents, looked at kind of different remits, how that was going to work, and came up with a final model, as it were, keep up. Now, I've now gone to councils again this semester, so I've been to Sports and Activities and Halls Rep Council again, and I'm going to SRC Council next week. So, been around all these students. I've also got an open meeting on Tuesday the 9th of November at 4 PM in meeting room 2, which is an F block in French A. This is a chance for anyone that's not sat on a council this year to come along and find about the constitution, ask me any questions, and see where we're going. It's also online, so I encourage you to go and check it out, maybe not read the whole thing because it's quite lengthy, but particularly look at the different bylaws, especially kind of bylaw 8, which is student governance, and look at those things that are really going to affect you. So what are the changes? Well, basically, like I said, we're going to now have 5 full-time presidents. So we're going to have an overall students' union president. We'll then have a VP Education, who'll be looking at student reps and educational issues such as assessment feedback, timetabling, GDP, all those sorts of things. We'll have a VP Sports, which will work similar to the sports president at the moment. So running sports clubs, varsity, looking at sport provision across the university. We'll then have our new role, which is something that we're really excited about. So this will be the VP for Community and Welfare. And this will be basically tying together students as a community on campus and students in the community. So they'll be looking at supporting different underrepresented groups, such as students with disabilities, mature students, LGBT students, all these sorts of things, and tying these together into kind of networks and support groups and societies and stuff like that. They'll also be responsible for halls reps, and accommodation issues, and looking at those sorts of things from a community perspective. And also volunteering and students in the wider community and looking at community projects and all that sort of thing. And then finally we have our VP Societies and Communication, which is kind of a slimmed down activities president. So it'll be looking after societies, encouraging kind of strong student groups, and also looking at student media, so continuing development of Western Nine Hub Radio, and also just generally how the union communicates with its members, looking at innovative ways, whether that's kind of podcasts or more video blogs, our lovely radio show, which is something to listen to, so all that sort of stuff. So that'll be the 5 full-time presidents. We're then going to have 9 part-time positions. So we'll have the 5 campus chairs, as they are now, will be renamed campus officers, and we'll have a stronger emphasis on representing their campus to kind of move away from some of the more events-focused things. And they'll be joined by 4 officers. So we'll have an officer for each of the 4 areas. So we'll have an education officer, sports officer, community and welfare officer, and a societies and communication, community and welfare and society and communication officer. These will work similarly to the way that our vice president sports activities work now, only we'll have 4 of them, which is very exciting. So all the part-time people will be officers and all the full-time people will be presidents, so hopefully it should be nice and simple, well, simpler anyway. So that will be our elected positions, and if the Constitution passes AGM, then this will be electing in March. So it affects everyone. Doesn't matter if you leave next year, these will be the people that you vote for in March, hopefully. So, looking more at our democratic structures, we're going to keep kind of the council structure as it exists now, with a few differences. So we'll go obviously to 4 councils, and we're actually going to rename them committees. So we'll have Student Rep Committee, Sports Committee, Societies and Communication Committee, and Welfare Community Committee. And then each of these will then send students up to Student Council, which will usually happen a week after. And this will be a chance for all students to kind of from the different areas to get together. They'll be joined by the elected positions, and this will be the forum where policy is passed and where we set kind of the overall direction of the Students' Union. And this will happen 3 times a year, and the first one will kind of act as AGM. And so basically these will be the chance for any student to put policy forward and what the Students' Union should be working on. Okay, so that's the simple overview. We're also looking at changes to our Board of Trustees, and this is something, basically the Board of Trustees is responsible for the overall financial and organisational stability of the organisation, and currently it kind of only really consists of the 4 full-time elected presidents. One of the other reasons that we want to change our constitution is that there's been changes to charity law. So currently we come under an odd category of exempt charities as Students' Union. However, this has now changed, so all charities have to register in their own right. So all Students' Unions have to register as charities in their own right. And in order to do this, then the Charities Commission has quite strict rules around Board of Trustees and around how charities are run. So what will now kind of be the 5 full-time presidents will be joined by 4 external trustees who will bring kind of specific expertise in finance and HR and stuff like that. Then we'll also have 2 student trustees, which is quite an exciting position, and this will be the chance for any student to put themselves forward to be a trustee of a charity, which is quite a big deal. So you'll get kind of huge experience in managing organisation and finance and all that sort of thing. So it'll look amazing on your CV. It'll be the first time I've had student trustees, and hopefully it'll make the whole process kind of more accountable and more transparent, and bring a kind of a stronger student voice to running the Students' Union, which probably is very important. So if all these things sound good to you, I've only kind of given some of the headlines, then you can check it out online and give it a good read. Come along, if you haven't already seen it at council, come along on Tuesday and ask me more questions. Basically what we're trying to do is make the Students' Union simpler to get involved with. We want to make the remits clearer and more defined. We want an overall policy making forum. We're going to have a new president for community and welfare, which is really exciting, the first time in a long time that we've seen anything like this at the Students' Union. And also kind of then more specific support for societies and communications, because that role will be a lot kind of slimmed down and a lot more defined for those areas. So this is what we're trying to do. Now, in order to pass this, it has to go to AGM, which is on the 25th of November, 5:30 in 2D67, which is Glentingan Lecture Theatre. Now, in order for anything to happen at AGM, we need to reach quoracy, which is basically 150 people need to come and sign in so that we can pass, any motions or the constitution or anything like that. So it's really, really important for you guys to come along. It's just a couple of hours, it's a Thursday evening, and it will make a massive, massive difference to the Students' Union. It's essential that we pass this to move forwards. We've been kind of the same for too long. We've got stuck in the same problems. We haven't kind of moved forward. We want to do more for students. We want to improve your experience. And in order to do this, we need to pass this new constitution. So I really hope to see you there on Thursday. At AGM, which is in a few weeks' time. If you've got any questions about the Constitution, please get in contact with me via email or Facebook or Twitter if you so deserve, and just ask me about it. And I'm really happy to ask questions, answer questions all day about the Constitution. It's kind of my favourite thing in the world. Everyone calls me a Constitution geek, which is a little bit harsh, but I'd really love people to get engaged with this. And like I was saying, we really need to pass it at AGM, so please come along. Thank you.